Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to the tutorial series of thermodynamics in the mechanical engineering channel of DTH. So, I am Dr. Shantanu Uday from IIT Kanpur. So, I will continue the tutorial on gas powered cycles which we started in the last lecture. So, in the last tutorial we basically covered air standard cycle, Carnot cycle and ideal Otto cycle, and we basically we solved tutorial problems on these cycles basically. So, to continue to that, in this lecture we are going to solve tutorial problems on diesel cycle, and then we will go to look into dual cycle also. Okay. So, the first problem is a 4 cylinder 2 stroke diesel engine which is having 2.4 liter that operates on an ideal diesel cycle, and it has a compression ratio of 22. So, the compression ratio is given and it is basically 22, and a cutoff ratio that is 1.8. In the beginning of the stroke, I mean air is at 70 degree centigrade and 97 kilopascal at the beginning of the compression process. So, using the cold air standard assumptions, determine how much power the engine will deliver at 3500 rpm. So, that is the problem statement. So, we would like to look into the cycle first. So, first we will draw the PV diagram of this diesel cycle. As you are all familiar, in the diesel cycle basically you have an isentropic compression process from 1 to 2. Okay. Then we have a constant pressure heat addition from 2 to 3. Then we have an isentropic expansion process from 3 to 4, and 4 to 1 is a constant volume heat rejection process. So, here this is the heat input and this is the heat output. So, this is the PV diagram of a diesel cycle. So, now to proceed with the analysis, we will, as it is mentioned that we will use the cold air standard assumptions. That means the specific heat will not be a function of temperature, and we can take Cp equal to 1.005 kilojoule per kg Kelvin and Cv as 0.718 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. So, if we say that it is I mean if it is not cold air standard assumption, then you have to consider the variable specific heats, and then we solved some of the problems for Otto engine, Otto cycle in the previous tutorial. So, we have to adopt that strategy basically using the relative volume, and from the relative volume you can find the temperature and the internal energy, kind of that analysis we have to continue. But here it is mentioned clearly it is a cold air standard assumption. So, Cp and Cv we have to take for air at standard condition, that is at room temperature, and we can use it for our problem solving. R, that is the gas constant of air, is 0.287 kilojoule per kg Kelvin, that is the ratio of the specific heat, that is basically the difference of the specific heats, and K, that is the ratio which is 1.4. Okay. So, now process 1 to 2 is an isentropic compression process. So, here I can write the final temperature T2 after the compression stroke will be T1 multiplied by V1 upon V2 to the power of K minus 1. Now, V1 by V2 is nothing but this 22, and T1 is 70 degree centigrade, which is 70 plus 2 73, and V1 upon V2 is 22 to the power of 1.4 minus 1. So, we can find T2 as 1181 Kelvin. Okay. So, that is the temperature after the compression stroke. Now, there will be constant pressure heat addition, which is basically 2 to 3, and here I can write P3 V3 by T3 equal to P2 V2 by T2, and since P3 equal to P2, we can write V3 upon T3 equal to V2 upon T2. So, from this we can find what is T3. Okay. So, T3 will be T2 multiplied by V3 upon V2. Now, V3 upon V2 is what? So, this is this is V1 and this is V2. Okay. So, R is nothing but your V1 upon V2, right, we have already used here. Okay. And V3 upon V2 is called the cutoff ratio. Okay. So, I am writing it as RC, and V3 upon V2 I can so this is the V3 upon V2. Okay. So, cutoff ratio is defined as the volume after the constant pressure heat addition divided by the V2, the volume after the compression stroke, that is at the lowest condition. Okay. So, RC is V3 upon V2. So, now this V3 upon V2 is given 1.8. So, it is 1181 into 1.8. So, that is going to give you 2126 Kelvin. So, that is the temperature after the heat addition process at constant pressure. 324 is the isentropic expansion process. Again we will use this formula basically to relate the final, to obtain the final temperature T4 after the expansion step, and this is the formula that we are going to use. Now, we have to find what is V3 upon V4, right. So, V3 is basically I can write V3 as RC times V2, right. So, this is RC is 1.8 times V2 and V4 is nothing but V1. Okay. So, I can write 2126 multiplied by 1.8 times V2 upon V1 is V2 upon V1 is 1 over R, right, that is the compression ratio. So, 22. So, finally, we can get T4 as 781 Kelvin. Okay. So, now we have obtained the temperature of all the 4 points in the cycle, and for the cycle we can find that how much mass of air is basically I mean how much, what is the mass of the air that is operating in this cycle. So, we can find M that is basically P1 V1 by R times T1. Okay. So, P1 is the pressure at the beginning of the compression stroke, which is 97 kilopascal. Okay. And V1 is basically given, it is 2.4 liter. So, I can write it as 0.0024 meter cube. Okay. And R is basically 0.287 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay. Or I can write it as kilopascal meter cube per kg Kelvin, and temperature at the beginning of the stroke is 70 degree centigrade, which is 70 plus 273 Kelvin, right. So, we can find what is the mass of air that is operating in this cycle, and this is 0.002365 kg. Okay. So, that is the mass. Now, we can find what we have to find is that how much power the engine delivers at 3500 rpm. Okay. So, for this we need to find the net work output, right. So, net work output can be obtained if I find the Q in, that is the heat that is transferred during this constant pressure process, and Q out. So, Q in is nothing but M times H3 minus H2, okay, which I can write it as M times Cp in times T3 minus T2. Okay. So, substituting the value, M is known, M is 0.002365, Cp is 1.005 times T3 minus T2, which is 2126 minus 1181 So, we can find Q in as 2.246 kilojoule. Okay. So, that is Q in. Next we can find what is the Q out. So, heat is rejected at constant volume condition. So, we are going to write m times U4 minus U1, right, that is the heat rejection process 4 to 1, and m times U4 minus U1, which I can write it as m times CV T4 minus T1. Okay. Now, substituting the values, this is m times CV is 0.718 and T4 minus T1. So, T4 was 781 Kelvin and T1 is 70 degree centigrade, which is 343 Kelvin, right. So, we can finally obtain the Q out, which is 0.7438 kilojoule. Okay. So, this is the Q out. Now, we can find what is the net work done. Okay. So, net work is basically Q in minus Q out, which is 2.246 minus 0.7438, that gives us to 1.502 kilojoule. Now, this is the net work done in a cycle. Now, the RPM of the engine is given, it is 3500 RPM. So, we have to calculate the what is the net work output in kilowatt. Okay. So, this is per cycle, and in a now if you want to find out that what is the net work output per unit time, basically that is why I am writing W dot, which is basically N dot is the N dot is basically the number of revolution per second, and I have to multiply it with W net out. So, N dot is 3500 upon 60. Okay. So, this is the revolution per second and multiplied by 1.502 kilojoule per revolution. Okay. So, it is a 2-stroke engine. So, for a 2-stroke engine, one thermodynamic cycle is equivalent to one mechanical cycle, right. So, therefore, we can write it like this, but if it is a 4-stroke engine, for every 2 revolution there will be 1 powered stroke. So, therefore, you have to use 2 in the denominator here. Okay. So, that will be the difference. So, it is a 2-stroke engine. So, number of power stroke will be basically n. Okay. And this is 3500 RPM, we have to convert it into RPS, revolution per second. So, that is what we have used here, but if it is a 4-stroke engine, then you have to divide it by 2, okay, because for every 2 rotations there will be 1 power cycle. So, this can be now simplified, this can be solved, and you will find work done in kilojoule per second or kilowatt, right. Okay. So, this is the net work output for this diesel engine. Okay. Next, we move to the another problem. The second problem is an air standard diesel cycle, but here we will be using variation of specific heats, right. So, that is the difference. Now, the problem statement is that the compression ratio is given, which is 16, and cutoff ratio is also given, that is 2, and P1 is 95 kilopascal and T1 is 27 degree centigrade or 300 Kelvin. Accounting for the variation of specific heats with temperature, determine the temperature after heat addition process. So, basically we have to draw the cycle again. Always first start with the PV diagram. So, here 1 to 2 is your isentropic compression process, 2 to 3 is your constant pressure heat addition, 3 to 4 is an isentropic expansion process, and 4 to 1 is a constant volume heat rejection. Okay. So, this is the heat in, this is the Q out, right. So, we need to find that what is the temperature after the heat addition process, basically T3. Okay. We have to find T3 and thermal efficiency of the cycle and the mean effective pressure. Okay. This we have to found. So, we will again start with the process 1 to 2, which is an which is an isentropic compression process. Now, T1 is given, which is 300 Kelvin. Here what we have to do, we can find, just like the previous class we found the relative volume, and the relative volume can be written as 621.2. So, basically you have to see the table, and from the table you can find the relative volume and the internal energy corresponding to the first step. So, internal energy is 214.07 kilojoule per kg. Okay. So, now you know VR1, so we can find what is VR2. Okay. So, VR2, the relative volume at point 2 should be equal to V2 upon V1 multiplied by VR1. Okay. So, VR1 is 621.2 and V1 by V2 is basically your compression ratio, right. So, V1 by V2 is your compression ratio, R is equal to V1 upon V2, right. So, that is basically 16. So, we can find what is VR2, and VR2 is 38.825. Now, corresponding to this we can find what is the temperature T2 from the table, and you can find it 862.4 Kelvin, and H2 is the enthalpy for this point. So, we are writing enthalpy because you need to find what is the heat input in this cycle. So, you can write enthalpy for this point 2, and this is basically 890.9 kilojoule per kg. Okay. So, that is the state 2. Now, we will come to the constant pressure heat addition process. So, here 2 to 3 the process is, I can write P3 V3 over T3 is equal to P2 V2 over T2, right. So, from this I can write T3 is equal to T2 multiplied by V3 upon V2. Why I can write? Because P3 is equal to P2, right, since P3 equal to P2. So, now I can find what is T3. T3 is 862.4, that is T2, into V3 upon V2 is your cutoff ratio, right, which is given as 2. So, final temperature after constant pressure heat addition, that is T3, is 1724.8 Kelvin. So, this is one of the answer. Next we have to calculate the thermal efficiency, but for that we need to get the temperature at 4 also. So, what we can do, basically we need to find what is the heat transferred and what is heat transferred, like Q in and Q out. So, for that we now move to, okay, before moving to the next step in the cycle, for this T3 I can find what is H3 and what is VR3, right. So, corresponding to this T3, H3 is again from the table 1910.6 kilojoule per kg, and VR3 is 4.546. Okay. So, that is these are the numbers. Now, I can calculate what is the heat transfer in this process, right. So, Q in is the heat transferred, and that is nothing but H3 up minus H2. So, that is the heat transferred per unit mass. So, 1910.6 minus H2 is 890.9. So, answer is 1019.7 kilojoule per kg. Okay. Now, I will go to the next process, that is 3 to 4 isentropic expansion process. Now, process 3 to 4 I can write VR4 in terms of VR3, right. So, V4 upon V3 multiplied by VR3. Now, V4 upon V3 is basically, if you will see, V4 is nothing but V1 and V3 is 2 times of V2, right. So, I can write V3 as 2 times of V2 and V4 as V1. Okay. So, V1 upon V2 is basically the compression ratio, which is 16 in this case. So, I am writing 16, and VR3 we have just now obtained as 4.546. So, this gives you VR4, which is 36.37. So, now from this VR4 we can find what is U4, because U4 is needed because we want to calculate what is the heat rejection during the constant volume, this constant volume heat rejection process, right. So, U4 is needed therefore. So, U4 is 659.7 kilojoule per kg. Now, if you refer back, so this is the heat rejection process and it is happening at constant volume. So, we will have to take the internal energy and it will be U4 minus U1, right. So, Q out will be U4 minus U1 659.7 and U1 was 214.07. So, finally, you will get Q out as 445.63 kilojoule per kg. So, that is the Q out. Now, with this we can calculate the thermal efficiency of the cycle, which is nothing but net work output by the heat supplied. So, it will be Q in minus Q out, that is the net work output by the amount of heat transferred during the heat addition process. So, which is nothing but 1 minus Q out by Q in. So, 1 minus 445.63 and Q in was 1019.7. So, finally, you will get the efficiency of 56.3%. Okay. This is the second part. Third part is that we have to calculate the mean effective pressure. So, for the mean effective pressure, we need to know what is the net work output, which is nothing but Q in minus Q out here. So, 1019.7 minus 445.63, that gives you to 574.07 kilojoule per kg. So, that is the net work output. We can find what is the volume, basically specific volume at the beginning of the compression stroke, which is RT1 upon P1. So, 0.287 multiplied by T1 is 300 Kelvin, P1 is 95 kilopascal. So, you can find V1 as 0.906 meter cube per kg. Okay. So, that is the maximum volume of the cycle. Now, what is the minimum volume? That is basically the V2. V2 is basically V1 upon R, and R is the compression ratio, which is 16. So, 0.906 divided by 16, okay, this much meter cube per kg. Now, we can find what is the mean effective pressure. So, mean effective pressure is the net work output of the cycle divided by V1 minus V2. Okay. So, V1 minus V2, so I can write it as 574.07, V1 is 0.906, okay, and V2 is 1 over 16 times 0.906. So, finally, you will get this as 675.9 kilopascal. So, that is the third part of this problem. Okay. So, now we have seen we have solved this problem of a diesel cycle, and here we have used variation of specific heats with temperature, and we have basically obtained the final temperature after the heat addition, which is this 1724.8 Kelvin, and we also obtained the thermal efficiency and mean effective pressure. Okay. Next, I will move to the third problem. So, this third problem is basically a 6 cylinder 4 stroke 3.2 liter compression ignition engine which operates on an ideal diesel cycle with a compression ratio of 19. Okay. So, compression ratio is given 19 and again P1 and T1 is given 95 kilopascal. The pressure at the beginning of the compression process is P1 and T1 is 67 degree centigrade, which is nothing but 340 Kelvin. So, the engine uses light diesel with a heating value that is given 42.5 megajoule per kg, and air fuel ratio is also given, that is 28, and the combustion efficiency is given 98%. So, this problem will be slightly different from the previous problems. Now, using constant specific heats at 850 Kelvin. So, it is mentioned that we have to take constant specific heat evaluated at 850 Kelvin, determine the maximum temperature in the cycle and the cutoff ratio, the net work output per cycle and thermal efficiency, the mean effective pressure, the net power output and the specific fuel consumption. That means how much gram of fuel is consumed per kilowatt hour, right. Okay. So, to begin with, we will again draw the cycle diagram. So, 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression process, 2 to 3 is the constant pressure heat addition, 3 to 4 is again isentropic expansion, and 4 to 1 is the constant volume heat rejection, right. So, to begin with, we will start with so we have to now take these properties, that constant specific heat evaluated at 850 Kelvin. So, for that we have to refer the property table, which is in St. John and Bowles. You have to refer table A to B, and there at 850 Kelvin you can find Cp as 1.11 kilojoule per kg Kelvin and Cv as 0.823 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Okay. So, R is basically difference of Cp minus Cv, which is 0.287, and K is the ratio of Cp Cv, which is 1.349. Okay. So, this you can this Cp and Cv you can obtain from the table, and then you can subtract Cp and Cv, then you will get the R, the gas constant, and K is basically Cp over Cv, right. So, these are the properties that we have to use throughout this cycle. So, now what I will do, I will look into the process 1 to 2, which is an isentropic compression process, and in this process we can find what is the T2, the temperature after the compression stroke. So, T2 will be T1 multiplied by V1 by V2 to the power of k minus 1. Okay. So, here T1 is 340 Kelvin and V1 upon V2 is basically the compression ratio, right. V1 upon V2 is compression ratio, which is 19, and K we have to use 1.349 minus 1. Okay. So, whenever the this type of problem is given, the constant specific heat at a particular temperature, then you have to look into the table and get Cp and Cv, and from that you can find K and R. Okay. So, T2 is the temperature, and after you calculate you will get 950.1 Kelvin. So, we can also find P2. P2 is P1 multiplied by V1 upon V2 power of K. P1 is 95 kilopascal and V1 upon V2 is 19 to the power of 1.349. So, P2 comes to be 5044 kilopascal. Okay. Next, what we can do, we have to find out the cutoff ratio also. So, cutoff ratio we have to find, but before that we can find what is this lowest volume. Okay. So, this R I can write it as, let us say, Vc plus Vd over Vc. Okay. So, Vc is basically this one and Vd is called the displacement volume, Vc is the clearance volume, and Vd is the displacement volume. I hope you have already studied this during the course. And so, what does it Vd means? Because the piston is moving from 1 to 2 and then again going back. So, between 1 to 2 process, this is the stroke, right, 1 to 2, and the corresponding volume is the Vd, displacement volume, and the lowest volume which is which occurs at point 2, and that is basically this volume is called the clearance volume. So, R is the compression ratio which can be written as Vc plus Vd, which is basically V1, right. So, this one is basically V1 and Vc is this V2, right. So, that is the definition of the compression ratio, right. So, now I can find what is Vc from this, okay, because the displacement volume is given, right. Okay. So, this R is 19, okay, and Vc by Vc plus Vd by Vc, I can write it as 1 plus Vd by Vc. Now, Vd is your displacement volume, which is I think there is some typo in this. So, it should be 4.5 liter, right, it should be 4.5 liter. So, I can write it as 1 plus Vd is the displacement volume, which is 4.5 liter. I can write it in terms of meter cube, which is nothing but 0.0045, right, and Vc. So, from this I can find what is Vc. Okay. So, the displacement volume is wrongly printed here, it should be 4.5 liter, and from this we can find what is Vc, right. So, Vc can be found as 0.000178 meter cube. So, that is the lowest volume during the cycle, it is called clearance volume, right. So, we can now find what is the V1. So, V1 is nothing but Vc plus Vd, right. So, clearance volume plus displacement volume, and then that should be equal to 0.000178 plus Vd, Vd is 0.0032, that is the displacement volume. Okay. So, if you add it up, it comes to be 0.003378 meter cube. So, that is the volume after the at the beginning of the compression stroke. I think this is correct. This should be 3.2 liter, right. So, this should be 3.2 liter, yeah, okay. So, 3.2 liter is 0.0032 meter cube, okay, that is why we have written. So, from this if you solve, you will get V clearance as this, and V1 is the initial volume before the compression stroke, which is basically Vc plus Vd. So, you add it up and then this is the V1, right. Sorry for the confusion. So, I think it is now resolved. So, this is the V1, that is the volume at the beginning of the compression stroke. Now, we can find the total mass of air, okay, inside the cylinder, that we can find as m. We know that what is the pressure and the volume at the beginning of pressure, volume and temperature at the beginning of the compression stroke, that is state 1. So, m can be written as P1 times V1 upon m times basically we are finding m. So, it is R times T1, right. So, P1 is given as 95 kilopascal, okay, multiplied by V1, which is 0.003378 meter cube, and R is 0.287 kilopascal meter cube per kg Kelvin, and temperature at the beginning of the compression stroke is 340 Kelvin, right, that is given in the problem. So, from this we can find what is the mass of the air which is there inside the cylinder, that is 0.003288 kg. So, this mass of the air remains fixed throughout the cycle, okay. And now we can find that what is the amount of fuel that is burnt, right, because we need to find what is the heat addition during the constant pressure process, right. We have to find Q in. So, Q in can be found out from basically mass of fuel, okay, multiplied by the heating value, right. Okay. So, this is the mass of fuel that we have to find, and the heating value of the fuel, that let us say I am writing it as QHV, that is the heating value of the diesel, and then their combustion efficiency, right, eta combustion. Okay. So, QHV is given in the problem, we have to find what is MF, and eta combustion is also given, right. So, we need to find what is MF. Okay. So, for this we have to find, so we have already find the mass of the air. Okay. So, this is the amount of air inside the cylinder. Also what is given is the air fuel ratio. Okay. So, air fuel ratio is given, that is 28. Okay. So, right. So, air fuel ratio is given as 28. Okay. So, we take 28. So, what does it means? This is the amount of air divided by amount of fuel, right. So, from this we can find what is the amount of fuel burnt. So, that should be 0.003288 divided by air fuel ratio, that is 28. If you solve it, you will get 0.0001134 kg. So, that much fuel is burnt. Okay. So, now I can put this back here, and heating value is given 42.5 megajoule per kg. Okay. So, we have to convert it into kilojoule per kg. So, I am multiplying it with 1000, and the combustion efficiency is 0.98, right. So, from this I can find this should be in kilojoule, right, because kilojoule, so this is kilojoule per kg multiplied by kg. So, it will be kilojoule. So, if you solve it, you will get 4.723 kilojoule. So, that is the heat supplied during the constant pressure heat addition process. Okay. Now, that must be equal to, this Q in should be equal to m times CV times T3 minus T2, right, is not it. So, this is T3 and this is T3 and this is T2, right, corresponding to these states. So, T3 minus T2 is the temperature difference multiplied by CV, sorry, it will be Cp, right, constant pressure heat addition process. Okay. So, then you have to substitute the numbers. So, m is 0.003288 and Cp we have written as 1.11 times T3 minus T2. So, T3 we have to find, T2 we already know, that is 950.1 Kelvin. So, from this we can find T3. So, Q in is 4.723 kilojoule, right. So, if I solve this, I will get T3, and if you calculate T3 will come as 2244 Kelvin. Okay. So, now that is the T3, and now we can find what is the cut-off ratio, right. So, cut-off ratio is basically V3 upon V2, right. So, I can write cut-off ratio is V3 upon V2, which can be written as T3 upon T2, right, because it is a constant pressure process. So, well, volume is proportional to the temperature. Okay. So, pressure is basically constant between 2 and 3. So, I know what is T 3, it is 2244 and T 2 is 950.1, the ratio will come out as 2.362. So, that is the cut-off ratio, which is one of the question, and we have also solved the final temperature after the heat addition process. So, first part is done. Now, I will move to the second part, which is basically the network output per cycle and thermal efficiency. Okay. So, for this we have to find what is V 2. So, V 2 is the volume after the compression, right. So, V 2 is V 1 upon R, which is 0.003378 and R is 19. So, you divide it and get V 2 0.000178 meter cube. So, that is the V 2. So, we can now find what is V 3. V 3 is this cut-off ratio times V 2, right. Then if you substitute the numbers, I am not writing it here again. So, you will get 0.0004199 meter cube. So, that is the V 3, and we already know V 4 is nothing but V 1 because it is a constant volume process. Okay. Now, let us look at process 3 to 4, which is the isentropic expansion process. So, the temperature after the expansion process is T 4, that should be equal to T 3 multiplied by V 3 upon V 4 to the power of k minus 1. So, T 3 we already know it is 2244 Kelvin, and V 3 is basically 2 times V 3 is R C times V 2 and V 4 is basically V 1, right. So, if you substitute the number, R C we already obtained as 2.362, right, or basically we do not have to do this. We already know what is V 3. V 3 is 0.0004199 meter cube, and V 4 is basically V 1, which is V 1 was 0.003378 meter cube. And K we already wrote initially, that is 1.349 in this problem. So, from this we can find T 4, and T 4 is 1084 Kelvin, okay. And we can also find P 4. P 4 is P 3 multiplied by V 3 upon V 4 to the power of k. Now, P 3 here is what is P 3? P 3 is basically P 2, and in the previous slide we have probably solved P 2. Yeah, P 2 is 5044 kilopascal, right, because P 3 equal to P 2, and this is V 3 upon V 4. .349. So, you will get P 4 as 302.9 kPa. Okay. Next, we can we have to find out the net work output of the cycle. So, we first find what is the Q out, okay, during process 4 to 1, and Q out will be equal to m times CV T 4 minus T 1, right. That is the Q out. Now, mass in the cycle is 0.003288 kg, and CV is 0.823 kilojoule per kg Kelvin, and T 4 minus T 1. So, T 4 is 1084 and T 1 is 340 Kelvin. So, if you take the product, you will get 2.013 kilojoule. So, that is the Q out. Now, net work output is nothing but Q in minus Q out. We already wrote Q in is 4.723 kilojoule and Q out is 2.013 kilojoules. So, answer is 2.71 kilojoule. Okay. So, that is the net work output. Now, we can find what is the thermal efficiency of the cycle, which is net work output upon Q in, right. So, 2.71 divided by 4.723 and you will get it as 57.4%, that is the thermal efficiency of the cycle. Now, we need to find the mean effective pressure. So, you already know mean effective pressure is the net work output divided by V 1 minus V 2. So, it is 2.71 kilojoule and V 1 minus V 2. So, V 1 is 0.003378 and V 2 is 0.000178 meter cube here, right. So, you can find what is the mean effective pressure, it should be 847 kilopascal. Next, we can go and find out the net work output in kilowatt, right. So, the W dot net, so dot means per unit time, this should be equal to W net out, which is the output of a cycle, right, which is 2.71 kilojoule. But this is a if you look at the problem, this is a 4-stroke engine, right. What does it mean? That there will be 4 strokes and then in these 4 strokes there will be 1 power stroke, right. So, basically for every 2 rotations there will be only 1 power stroke, right. Therefore, what we have to do, we have to multiply it with n dot. Okay. N dot is the revolution per second and by 2, because for every 2 revolution there will be 1 power stroke, that is why we are dividing it by 2. So, this is 2.71 kilojoule and n dot is given as 1750 rpm. So, this is 1750, but we have to write it in second. So, divide by 60 and there is a 2. Okay. So, this should be in the kilowatt. So, you will find it as 39.5 kilowatt. So, that is the output of this diesel engine, okay, 39.5 kilowatt. Finally, we have to find the specific fuel consumption. Okay. Specific fuel consumption is basically the mass of fuel consumed per unit work done, right. So, mass of fuel consumed we already calculated as this one 0.001134 and net work output is 2.71 kilojoule, right. So, this is kg and this is kilojoule. Okay. So, now you have to find it in gram per kilowatt hour. Okay. So, what I have to do, I will multiply this with 1000. So, it will be in gram. Okay. Then I will multiply it with 3600 kilojoule divided by 1 kilowatt hour, right, because 1 kilowatt hour is 3600 kilojoule. So, now if you calculate, this will basically cancel and you will get gram per kilowatt hour unit, right, gram per kilowatt hour unit. So, specific fuel consumption will be 151 gram per kilowatt hour. Okay. So, that is the final question. Okay. So, this was a big problem on diesel 4-stroke diesel engine, and we have calculated the maximum temperature, net work output, mean effective pressure, net power output, etc., and the specific fuel consumption. I will move to a next problem on the dual cycle, right. Dual cycle is different from diesel and the Otto cycle. Here basically the heat is added both at constant volume and constant pressure. Okay. So, if you look at a dual cycle, it in the PV diagram, it will look like somewhat this. So, there will be a there will be an isentropic compression process, 1 to 2, then there will be a constant volume heat addition, and then there will be a constant pressure heat addition. Okay. So, this together is the heat addition process. Okay. So, this is the Q in. Let us say that the final state is 3 after heat addition, and from 3 it will go to 4. So, 3 to 4 is an isentropic expansion and 4 to 1 is a constant volume heat rejection Q out. So, in dual cycle you see that the heat is added both at constant pressure and constant volume. Let us say I will denote this as x, this point. Okay. So, now what the problem says that it is having a compression ratio, that is V1 upon V2 14, cut-off ratio is 1.2, that means RC is 1.2. So, RC is nothing but V3 by V2, right. The pressure ratio during the constant volume heat addition process is 1.5. So, this pressure ratio, so Px by P2 is 1.5, right, pressure at this point divided by pressure at 2. Determine the thermal efficiency. So, you have to find out the thermal efficiency, amount of heat added, the maximum gas pressure, that is Px, okay, and temperature when the cycle and maximum temperature will occur at T3, right, when the cycle is operated at 80 kilopascal and 20 degree centigrade at the beginning of the compression. So, P1 is 80 kilopascal, T1 is 20 degree centigrade or 293 Kelvin. Use constant specific heats at room temperature. So, Cp and Cv, Cp is 1.005, I am not writing the unit, and Cv is 0.718, R is 0.287 and K is 1.4. Okay. So, please write the units always, I am not writing now at this moment, but you always write. So, what I can do, I can find what is the specific volume at the beginning of the compression stroke. So, this is RT1 upon P1, and if you substitute the number, then you will get it as 1.051 meter cube per kg. Okay. Now, what is the specific volume at the end of the compression stroke? That should be V1 upon R, right. So, 1.051 and compression ratio is 14. So, you will find V2 as 0.07508 meter cube per kg. Now, pressure at the end of the compression stroke, that we can find P2. So, P2 should be equal to P1 multiplied by V1 upon V2 to the power of K. So, P1 is 80 kilopascal and V1 upon V2 is R 14 to the power of 1.4. So, you will find it as 3219 kilopascal. Maximum pressure occurs at point x. So, Px should be equal to P3, right, that is the maximum pressure, and this can be written as 1.5 times P2. So, if you put the numbers, you will find Px as 4829 kilopascal. The temperature at the end of the compression stroke T2 can also be found. So, T2 is equal to T1 multiplied by V1 upon V2 to the power of K minus 1. So, T1 is known 293 Kelvin, V1 upon V2 is 14 to the power of 1.4 minus 1. So, you will find T2 as 842 Kelvin. Okay. So, next is we have to find what is Tx at the end of the constant pressure heat addition, a constant volume heat addition. So, Tx can be found as T2 multiplied by Px upon P2. Okay. So, 842 Px upon P2 is 1.5. So, this is 1263 Kelvin. Next we will find what is V3. Okay, V3. So, for V3 we know the cutoff ratio. So, V3 is basically RC times V2, right. So, cutoff ratio is given as 1.2 and V2 is 0.07508 meter cube per kg. So, V3 you will get it as 0.0901 meter cube per kg. Okay. Now, we can find T3. Okay. We have seen what is V3. So, T3 is basically Tx multiplied by V3 upon Vx, because X23 is a constant pressure process. So, pressure remains constant. So, you can use this formula to get T3. So, Tx was 1263 Kelvin and V3 upon Vx is nothing but V3 we have already calculated 0.0901 and Vx is 0.07508, okay, so which is basically 1.2. So, you can find T3 as 1516 Kelvin. T4 is an isentropic process, T3 to 4 is an isentropic process. So, I can find T4 as T3 times V3 upon V4 to the power of k minus 1, and if you substitute the numbers you will find T4 as 567.5 Kelvin. So, I am skipping these steps and now I can find what is the Q in. Q in is the amount of heat supplied during this process, which is Cv times Tx minus T2, the constant volume heat addition, multiplied by Cp times T3 minus Tx. Okay. So, if you substitute the numbers you will get it as 556.5 kilojoule per kg. So, I am not writing these numbers again and again. The amount of heat rejected is Cv T4 minus T1. So, T4 is 567.5 and T1 is the temperature 293 Kelvin. So, you can find Q out as 197.1 kilojoule per kg. Then finally, we can find the thermal efficiency, which is 1 minus Q out upon Q in, and if you substitute these numbers here in this expression you will get it as 64.6%. So, the efficiency of the dual cycle is 64.6%. So, now in this problem we have found all these questions that were asked. The thermal efficiency we have found, amount of heat added we have already found, okay, amount of heat added. So, this is the amount of heat added, maximum gas pressure and temperature. So, this is the maximum pressure. Maximum pressure will occur at P3, that is, this is the maximum pressure, and maximum temperature will occur at T3, which is 1516 Kelvin. Okay. So, this problem is solved. So, in this tutorial we have covered the diesel cycle, analysis of the diesel cycle and the dual cycles. In next class we will look into the Brayton cycle. Thank you for your attention.